All right, that beep was the beginning. Good evening, Rick.
Okay.
What's the time over there, Rick?
Let's see. It's about 3:40 in the morning on Friday.
Okay, well it's 7:41 p.m. here. We just had a 4.9, 4.8, 4.9 quake. There was just a few k's short of here, south of here, and had a good shake. So yeah, I didn't feel it. My wife did.
Yeah, I heard about that, and I also got an article earlier today. Yeah, actually yesterday, that the Taranaki volcano is going to erupt imminently, in quotes, imminently within the next 50 years. You happen to see that by any chance?
No, Taranaki. No, I haven't seen that.
Taranaki.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was on stuff. Dot co.
Oh, that was on stuff. Really
As it was. See,
interesting.
every day, yeah, every day I go into stuff, and I also go into the New Zealand Herald, and I check out everything for the past 24 hours.
Yeah. Well,
So
stuff is, from my opinion, is one of the best media sources here. Best is the wrong word to use, I know, but it gives quite a quite a big thing, and it's actually owned by Fairfax. So that they have a sorry.
also the New Zealand Herald covered it as well too.
Oh, okay, interesting. So they're
Yeah,
doing a little bit of fear mongering.
a little bit. It's I think it's best to have people be aware of what might be coming in the future, as opposed to being surprised. You know?
Yeah, yeah. It's always been my viewpoint on it, and which is why I've always been posting on the thing, make people aware. But that,
Exactly. That's why what a little over a year, maybe 2 years ago, I posted about an earthquake that was going to come to New Zealand, and it actually happened a couple days later. You know,
yeah. Well,
so
I'll tell you. I saw an interesting article this afternoon, and that was probably on Stuff too. But it was Tower, which is an insurance company here, Tower Insurance. They have just raised their their rates. What they've done is they've changed their rating system of how they charge for their insurance. This is for house insurance, and
okay,
so what they're doing is they are making the cost based on location. In other words, what they used to do with insurance is spread it across all the people who insure with them, and so you'd
right,
all get an average kind of cost. Now what they're doing is reducing it for some people and raising it for others. And so some people have just had a 400% increase in their insurance cost, gone from
good.
yeah, yeah. Well, one woman who went from whatever it was to $7,000.
My God, that's actually insurance rate.
Oh,
It really
totally.
is. They're doing a similar thing in the Houston, Texas area, with all the flooding that's going on as well too. They're raising the rates down there because of well, the recent rains, which have accumulated anywhere from 12 to 15 inches over the past several days, in addition to what Hurricane Harvey did last fall. So the raise your rates, you can't afford flood insurance. You live in a home, it's flooded out. Where are you going to go? Live in a Red Cross shelter? It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So we go back to this whole thing of weather derivatives. Go back to disaster capitalism. People on Wall Street are making money off of this, and it is
So,
not okay.
so since I am the interviewer and you are the guest this evening, can you explain?
I kind of about that.
What's that?
I kind of forget about that.
Yeah. So what is the? Can you explain to our listeners or our viewers, since not that there's a whole lot to view of you because it's just a red blur at the moment, and I'm just a blur that seems to move around a little bit. But can you can you explain at least so they can hear the whole idea of weather derivatives and so forth, and how people make money from the weather?
Oh my goodness, we're starting down on the list. I made a list of what we're going to do for this show tonight, but basically, weather derivatives are options you take out on the stock market. Now, what you're doing is basically playing poker on the stock market, which means you're hedging your bets on whether it'll be a weather disaster or not within a 6-month period of time. Now, if you have inside information, like many Wall Streeters do, especially those who deal with the military, U.S. military, and with Monsanto, which comes as a surprise to a lot of people, but Monsanto is also heavily involved in weather warfare.
Can I just correct you there?
Excuse me?
Can I just correct you there?
Yes.
Bayer.
Well, it's now Bayer, yeah.
Yeah.
But for all intents and purposes, people still understand Monsanto.
Yeah.
Still not really that Bayer bought them out.
Yeah, I agree.
And, yeah, okay.
Continue.
Anyway, yeah, so they hedge their bets. They're playing poker, basically playing poker, okay, which I've already covered. Now, within a 6-month period of time, if a weather event happens and they hedge their bets that, okay, there's going to be severe rain that's going to wipe out the crops in southern Texas, well, they can literally rake in millions of dollars on hedging their bets because they only put up a couple $1,000s, maybe more, hedging their bets against crop loss. So that's essentially what weather derivatives is. Now that was first started by Enron. Enron is now a defunct corporation. They're the ones who started weather derivatives back in 1999, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And then they got involved in some fraud activities, and the government basically closed them down.
Yep.
So that's basically it in a nutshell.
Sure. Yeah, okay, good. Now, you said you had a list of things you wanted to talk about, so tell us about your list.
Oh my goodness, Nigel. I don't know if I've listed everything, but what I've done, I've probably listed the most important things. The one thing I want to do with you here is I want to give a little background on myself and you.
Okay.
First of all, my personal background, I'm 66 years old now. Not proud of it, but that's what I am.
Yeah.
Anyway, most of my life, growing up, I've always been an activist. I've always got my hands involved in other people's affairs that were being offended by others. Okay, and that took place at a very early age, and it continued on through my late years. As you know, one of the things that I am most proud of is that I worked at Citizens Commission on Human Rights not only on Capitol Hill, but also in Los Angeles, California, headquarters for Citizens Commission on Human Rights. And part of my activist activity involved the exposing of Prozac, which is an antidepressant drug, being the main cause for people committing suicide or suicide attempts. Now,
Yep.
that expose that I did got national recognition, magazines, radio, and TV, and it led to a FDA, Food and Drug Administration hearing in September of 1991.
Yep.
In addition to that, also led to a congressional investigation, which is kind of nice. Now, when I say I've been an activist since an early age, I also have to regress and tell you in the audience that I was not always that way. It's only at certain times that I became an activist. Most of my life was spent in living life, you know, being married, raising children, playing sports in high school, you know, the everyday normal things that a person would do.
Sure.
So, continuing with that, I think I've elaborated enough right there as far as that goes, but here's the thing that I wanted to cover on the agenda of tonight's show.
Yep.
One, I gave you the background. I want to give you a personal thank you for encouraging me on August 31st, 2016 to start Weather Wars International. Now, reluctantly, I said, no, I don't have time for that, which you probably remember.
Yep. Sure.
Then I ate dinner, I slept on it, and the next day, September 1st, 2016, I started Weather Wars International.
Yep.
Well,
I'll let you in on something. I knew you would.
yes. Go ahead, tell me.
No, I'm saying that I knew you would start it.
Well, I know you knew, but you know I had to dust it for myself.
Sure.
Anyway, in less than a 2-year period of time, Weather Wars International has taken off. How do I explain? Gangbusters. The rise in members at Weather Wars International has grown from 2, which was me and you to begin with, to right now, which is, what are we dealing with? June 22nd, 2018, it has grown from 2 to nearly 14,500 members.
Yep.
That's incredible. On a weekly basis, no, I shouldn't say that. On a monthly basis, Weather Wars International gains between 400 and 500 new members a month. I
Yep.
don't know of any website that can make that claim outside of RT, which is Russia Today. When I started, logging in with Russia Today to find out what was going on, not only in Russia but internationally, they were at around 2.6 million. Right now, they're over 5.3 million.
Yeah.
So that gives you an idea of the magnitude of the growth of our organization. And I expect nothing but continued growth from here on out.
Sure.
The the real nice thing that I like seeing on Weather Wars International is not only do I have things, members joining from the United States, I have them coming from every nation on the planet. So,
yeah, I noticed that.
yeah, and it's like even the obscure nations, some of the islands out in the South Pacific, they're joining up. And I said, I don't even know where this nation is. So I had to look it up to find where they come from.
Sure.
And it's just mind blowing, and it's actually very beautiful. It really is. Okay, so kudos to you, my friend.
Well, you're welcome.
Okay, good. Now, one of the other things that I wanted to cover, actually there's several. You made mention of this some time ago as well too, that I needed to thank my late wife, Lynn Duarte, for hold on. This is a little bit difficult for me.
Understand.
Yeah. My late wife Lynn, for supporting me.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say there.
Yeah.
She,
well, I'm not going to stir it up anymore, but I know that you've been through a hell of a lot in the last few months, Rick, so, that's definitely understood.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll move on.
Yep.
There's a, how did I get involved in weather wars? It's probably, what do you want to say, is probably on the minds of most people. Well, quite frankly, back in 2011, I finally bought a computer, and I went on to Facebook and became a, what would you call it, member of Facebook. I thought it was going to be social media, find out what friends are doing, that sort of thing.
Sure.
I was just curious. I had no idea what was going on. So, I just, scrolled down the pages, and I kept on finding certain things, certain articles, maybe videos, that roused my curiosity.
Yep.
One of them, dealt with chemtrails. And I said, that's very interesting. What are chemtrails? So I watched the video, read the article, and I said, wow, that's interesting. Having been in the lawn and landscape business and paying attention to the weather for years, I was rather curious about that, because weather is an important factor for lawn and landscape business. So I read on it, and I said, oh, yeah, that's what's going on. But it wasn't enough in depth to give me a full picture of what was going on. So I continued following chemtrails for quite some time. Well, after doing that, I came across several individuals, reputable individuals, who reported on chemtrails and weather modification. Now, those individuals include Dane Wigington of GeoEngineeringWatch.com. I also paid attention to earthquakes, and that was Dutch Sense, who does a fabulous job of covering earthquakes, even though his videos are rather lengthy. He does a real good job of reporting earthquakes across the planet and where they are most likely to happen again.
Yeah, he actually started, by the way, reporting weather modification, Dutch sense. Not that many people know that, but he started reporting weather modification. That's how he started out. And then he backed off. He was actually warned off it or threatened off it, if you like, and he backed off, and he went into the earthquake thing, and backed completely off it being man-made.
Interesting. I had no idea about that.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing about plants. A couple years ago, they actually took down his account, and so all his videos were totally wiped out. But since then, he's come back in the past year or so and continued on.
Sure.
Now,
continue.
There's a couple other people I'd like to acknowledge. Acknowledge in the sense that gave me a great education aside from weather wars, and not aside from weather wars, but from chemtrails. Chemtrails was what you want to say. That was the stepping ground that moved me on to other things.
Sure.
David Icke.
Yep.
Was one of them. You know, he opened my eyes to a number of things, but he also dealt with, chemtrails and weather wars. Another eye-opening person, I don't know whether this person is male or female, the person goes incognito, but it's Weather Wars 101.
Okay.
Now, Weather Wars 101 for the audience, he was able to, or she was able to document how a nation, especially the United States, uses their own infrastructure, specifically their power plants, to manufacture storms, especially flooding, throughout the nation. Now, when I mention power plants, I'm specifically talking about nuclear power plants and power plants that generate electricity. Their smokestacks evaporate literally millions of gallons of water vapor a day.
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
In the United States, if you take the 7,000 power plants that we have, those 7,000 power plants that generate 7 million, generate 7 million of gallons of water vapor daily. Multiply that, now you're talking about billions of gallons of water. Well, what happens with that? Well, the technology is, and when I say technology, I'm talking about U.S. military technology, is you're able to steer that condensation over a specific area and release it, as was the case in 2016 and again in 2018 in Ellicott City, Maryland, where the deluge was absolutely incredible.
Yep.
Over 6 inches of rain fell in a matter of hours, wiping out the entire town, not once, but twice. They called it a 1,000-year flood, but that 1,000-year flood happened twice within 2 years. So you know, right from the get-go, this was a man-made event.
Yeah.
Mother Nature does not.
Can I say something?
Please.
Yeah, we're watching the same thing happening, and you've seen this as well, of course. But New Zealand's weather being created from power plants in Australia, the atmosphere, the condensation from there, or evaporation, and then moving it over to New Zealand, and we get these huge floods and so forth. And that's been just happening one after the other, just constant. With gaps in between, and that's been our weather for the last couple of years in a short sentence, you know.
Yeah, I know. I've been tracking that as well too. I go over to I'm trying to forget the oh shoot, what is it called? I in addition to going over to stuff and also to the New Zealand Herald, I also go over to Australia. Shoot, I'm trying to remember the name of the newspaper there. I'm sorry, I forgot the name of the newspaper. But I go over there and check that out for the past 24 hours. So I see what they're doing in Australia, and I track it all the way over to New Zealand. So, you know, for the past, I'd say the past year, I've seen exactly what you've seen, Nigel.
Yeah, and I've mentioned before about Rockhampton in Queensland. They have this, they've just spent, I don't know, what is it, $1 billion on the military base there. So there's obviously a lot of technology going in there.
Oh, absolutely. Which brings me to Jim Lee. Now, Jim Lee probably knows more about weather modification and weather warfare than anybody on planet Earth. Okay. Now, Jim Lee is the Weather Wars International Hall of Fame member. What that means is he has contributed greatly to understanding exactly how weather wars take place. And I'll end it right there. But the I can't begin to thank Jim Lee enough for educating me and Weather Wars International members.
Sure.
He does an absolutely fabulous job. He does. And, you know, anytime he turns out a new video, I'll guarantee you I'm one of the first to jump on that like a hobo on a ham sandwich. Now, moving along, there's a couple other people I want to thank as well too. One is Alana Freeland. Alana Freeland is also a Weather Wars International Hall of Fame member.
Yep.
He has written a couple books, which I have copies of here. One is hold on, let me get a copy of the book. It's called Chemtrails, Harp, and the Full Spectrum Dominance of Planet Earth.
Yep.
You know, if you don't have a copy of that, you need to get a copy of that. Now, just briefly, the title speaks pretty much for itself. But in the course of reading that book, I found out that earthquakes can be and are manufactured by the U.S. military, and if not the U.S. military, by Israel, China, and Russia. Those are the top 4 nations that are behind weather warfare. Now, I was astounded how many earthquakes actually happened as the result of these nations' doings.
You said USA, Israel, Russia, and who's the other one?
China.
China. Oh, okay. Yep.
Right. Now, I found it interesting that there was a earthquake in Sichuan, China, which killed over 50,000 people several years ago. That was a man-made earthquake. The Boxer's Day earthquake, 9.1 earthquake and resulting tsunami that killed an estimated 250,000 was also man-made.
Yep.
And there's a whole lot more that follow up with that. Okay, and that's kind of bone rattling, if you will. It's, it really unnerves me.
Yeah, well, that's huge figures there. You know, huge deaths. I mean, that's just like if you compare that against like a nuclear bomb or something like that, it's right up there. It's or surpassing the the conventional weapons.
Exactly. So, why do you need nuclear bombs? You can do more damage in a shorter period of time and be incognito. Nobody knows where it's coming from or who is doing it just by, you know, doing earthquakes, floods, hail, tornadoes, you name it. Whatever Mother Nature has produced in the past, man can now surpass that.
Now, I want to just stop here for a moment, and that is that
Okay.
I'm conscious that we've been talking for pretty close to an hour, and I'm thinking, okay, I better stop this because otherwise the video is going to be too long and it's going to take too long to upload and this kind of thing. So I'll stop it and I'll make a new one and we can just carry on. In other words, so
Okay,
I can save this one. You can stay online and I'll just stop this and then we'll start again or we'll just continue on a part 2 if you like.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay, so
Part 2 would be good because
let me just sorry?
I barely scratched the surface of the topics I wanted to talk about.
Okay. Well, we can always talk about that in future things as well. But I'll stop for a moment here, and we'll just. So this is the end of this part.